Hey everybody, it's Doom, and we're back in part 2 in 3.5 Monster Manual Giant. And this is a hill giant, but it's not the standard 12 foot tall or 10 foot tall hill giant from D&D. This is one of our dungeon swag giants, and it's much larger. This dude stands just at 4.5 inches, it looks like. Here's him next to a regular standard, what do you call this company? WizKids Mini. And that's how big I like my giants to be. Obviously, that's not a book size. So we have a couple things we got to do. One, we got to sort out the fact that he's got some metal we haven't touched. So let's get this dark silver here. This is called gunmetal. And let's get a dab of this oak brown and mix that with that. And let's start painting up some of his metal. He's got this spoon. And he's got these spikes. And they look like giant railroad ties. Light don't I have on? I feel like one of my lights isn't on. Seems dark in here. There's a little piece of support there. I'm not going to snap it off because I kind of like it. I think I got it all. As far as metal goes, but I'm not sure. I'm really not. I did see a spot here on his log part that I don't feel like I got enough, but I could have just not lightened it up enough in the initial phase. So I'm going to come back and grab a little bit of that. Get it on there. A little better. Make sure it's brown. Okay. So what I decided to do about these parts that look like rock, well, here, let me set my brush down and let's lift this up and get a better look at him. So it looks like he's been growing like something, and then rocks have been sticking to him. And it's cool looking, but I'm not sure what the deal is with that. So what I've decided to do is to get this oak brown paint, and I'm going to paint that brown. And I'm going to come back and paint the rocks dark gray. And as I'm doing this, I'm just going to kind of use like different pressure and different attention to how much paint I get down, just to create a little natural variation, because there's a lot of texture here anyways. Something like that. I'm going to do that on all those kind of spots. I'm using this giant size 3 brush to do it. And this is like a really cheapy, like terrible size 3 brush too. It's like the junkiest brand on earth. And right there was a little piece of support I missed. Again. Like I said, when a Scorbic mails them to me, like official Dungeon Swag stuff, I don't have these problems. But when I print them on my personal printer, which isn't like a terrible printer, you know, it's an Elegoo Saturn 8K. It's a good printer. It's just, I'm not... You know, I'm not a printing guy. As a matter of fact, when 3D printing came out, I'm like, well, that's the end of crafting. But I was wrong. Get in here and hit that up. All right. Now, I'm going to get a little bit of white, but I'm not going to use regular white because that's so bright. And I'm going to go and doing some touch-up work on some of these ropes where I'm not real happy with how they look. And what I'm doing is I'm getting this. This is just the Army Painter starter brush. And I'm getting a little dab of white. And I'm kind of rubbing it around. And I'm going to come in here and catch some ropes that I didn't notice before. And just lighten those up a little bit. And the reason I'm doing that is because I'm going to come back in and hit those with the same speed paint I hit the other. Oh shit, that was a lot. Hit those with the same speed paint I hit the other stuff with. Okay. For consistency. So they'll look like the other ropes. I'm just going to relighten up his teeth that I hit. And his nose. Okay. Now before we get involved in any colors, besides this, let's get rid of that tape for now. Maybe for good. Well, it's for good because I dropped it. And let's hit him with the hot air gun. So we got the +2 hot air gun burning. On low heat. Okay. Let's get a new piece of tape. Let's get that dark metal out again, that gunmetal. And let's get a little piece of cardboard. Now with that size 3 brush, that cheapy one that we were using, I'm going to get that silver. I'm going to hit some of the high wear areas on the metal. Something like that. Alright. Now his hood, I wasn't real happy with, and I'm not sure how to fix that. So I have a couple of little ideas, and I don't know how good they are. So the first one I had was, I could use a couple different colors and try to see if we can make some changes to that hood that work and that look okay. So what I'm doing here is I'm going to get my starter brush, my real, it's like a size 1 pretty much. It's a starter brush for army painter. And I'm going to try to do some cleanup work in some of these areas. Because if you can see, this is actually made to be different pieces of leather that are cobbled together. So just to add some variation for 1. And to try to improve the look for 2. I'm going to attempt to do something with that. I don't know how I like that. Let's try another color. Let's try an orange. Let's see if we can do something. Get something going here. Oops, that doesn't go there. know. Try something kind of dark, maybe on that side. I don't know. I'm not sure how I want to do that. I don't want to mess it up. So I'll wait. So here's some things we need to do still. We need to lighten up the edges of all our logs. We need to come back and do the gray on these stones. Let's do that now while we're here. And then we need to start creating variation. And then we need to fix all the skin tone. That's going to be a lot of work. So before we do that, I'm just going to get some of this silver. I'm going to hit some of these studs. And there's not a whole lot of them. And I'm not hitting them perfectly. I'm just kind of doing 2/3 of them from the points inward. Okay. Is there any more studs on dude? I didn't see a whole bunch on him. Whatever this is here, I'm going to make that and that both metal. Yeah, I think that's what I want to worry about at the moment. Alright, so let's get that stone color that we were talking about. And this is called dark stone. It's a brownish gray. Let's come back over that area where we did all that brown. And do about half the rocks with this. And it doesn't even have to be perfect coverage, but and again, we just want to get about half the rocks. We don't want to get them all. And even the ones we do get, we're not looking for perfect coverage. Okay. So what I was trying to capture some stone effect there. And what I want to do now is I want to come back. And I'm actually not going to be using a speed paint on this part. I'm grabbing my favorite color in the whole world, which is Walmart Apple Barrel Pavement. And all the rocks that we did not get with dark stone, we're going to hit with pavement. And when you see this color, if you haven't seen it, well, let's just say your head's about to explode. This is phenomenal. Oh, it coats so nice too. For a craft paint, I mean, every one of these I've opened has been, just this color I should say though, has been amazing. It's just this one color. They must like it enough that they do a good job making it each time. Usually with craft paints, there's so much inconsistency that I can't barely work with them. But then one day Apple Barrel was like, you know what? I kind of like this color, man. Let's do a good job with it. And they were like, no, we don't do that. We're Apple Barrel. We make garbage ass paint. And then boom, you have this gorgeous dark, rich, thick, just amazing. I shouldn't say thick because I don't really send it out that much. But you have this gray that is just banging. Okay. And again, like how we did it on the with the other gray, we're just getting about half the rocks with this, okay? Whatever ones we missed and any ones that we feel like need to be done a little darker. That's all we're doing right here. God, I love the way that's turning out. We haven't done the leather on his weapon yet. And I'm not sure exactly how I want to do that. It's partially why. So let's take this and set it aside. We're going to need to let that rock all dry for a little bit here. But what we can be doing... Let me dry this brush off. Is we can get a light, 2 light colors. I'm going to get Monster Brown and Skeleton Bone. So first I'm going to start with this Monster Brown. And I'm going to get a tiny bit of that dark stone and a tiny bit of that Monster Brown. And I'm going to mix it real good and then wipe a lot of it off my brush. And I'm going to come in and start touching around where wood is broken on the model to lighten that up some. Okay. And I'm not looking for perfection here. What I'm really looking for is some variation to create some interest. And that is it, dudes. Okay? So like I said, this is just a little bit of dark brown mixed with this Monster Brown. And we want to pick up the snap parts of logs with it. And not even down on all the cracks. We're just catching almost like a fake dry brush. Okay? We're doing that everywhere where there's those logs like that. And you don't even have to be perfect about it. Then, once you're happy with that, how the edges of your wood look, come back and get that, where's it at, the skeleton brown. You don't even need to clean your brush out, just grab that, or the skeleton, what's it called, skeleton brown? No, skeleton bone. Get that, and a little bit of that darker. Find something real light in the middle though. Wipe that off. Now if you have a dry brush palette to check your dry brush, this is a good time to be using something like that. And you can kind of use that to get what you want off of there. Then we're just going to come back in and barely tap those areas. And really find proof that this is the inside of a tree that we're seeing that has been snapped off all crazy. All right. Let's tackle another monster on this project. I'm gonna put away some of these browns and stuff I have out from over here. I have a lot of stuff out. We're gonna get this uniform gray. We're gonna get some of that monster brown and some of that uniform gray. We're gonna get a good consistency. We're going to come back on these rocks, which should be mostly dry now. And we're just going to give a really lazy tap on all of them at first, okay? Every rock. Just lazy tap it. Okay. Now you're going to come back with that light, and this time you're going to mix it with that bone. Skeleton bone color. You're going to wipe almost all that off. And we're going to hit from the top only the biggest rocks that stick out. And you don't even need to hit the whole rock, just the bigger ones and the parts that stick out, just hit those. See how it's creating like you can tell those are rocks now. You know what I mean? That's what we're trying to accomplish. And I think we did that. I think we did accomplish that. I think it looks okay. Now let's tackle the couple things we haven't done, which is we haven't done anything with his little jug. We haven't done the ropes here that need fixed. And we haven't done that strap. But before we do that strap, I just want to pick up some more of this here on this giant branch where it's cracked and try to create a little more variation in that. That's a me thing. You don't have to get into that kind of activity if you don't want to. Alright, that's just a me thing. Alright. So for that strap on his thing there, we have kind of killed it on browns and dark colors. So I'm going to get my starter brush. I'm going to get this runic gray. I'm going to try to do the strap in this runic gray and see how it looks. That's a me thing. I'm hoping it looks okay. And it is not unbearable to me. I'll take it. It's not exactly what I wanted, but it's not unbearable. Alright, now we got to do some, let's do a little bit of variation dry brushing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get colors that haven't been introduced to our palette. And like, for example, this is Chocolate Bar. It's a reddish brown by Apple Barrel. I'm going to pull this tape out for a minute while we try this. I don't know how this is going to look or how it's going to work. I'm going to get a small makeup brush that's very soft. And I'm going to try to do some minor touch-up stuff to some different areas, just to create some variation that we didn't have, and also to bring out some more reds and other colors that we didn't have in the model. So that was called Chocolate Bar. And then I'm going to do that again with a lighter tone called Chestnut. And I'm just going to do the same thing. I'm not even going to clean that other out of my brush. I'm going to steal some of this chestnut. Now, I told you guys I'm a lazy painter. I told you not to trust me and not to learn how to paint from me. And now, we start to see some definitely more appreciated color change that was needed much on this model. We're going to keep that brush we're using there. We're going to rinse it out a little bit. Okay. And what we're going to do now is we're going to get I just knocked all this paint over. We're going to get a little bit of this sun-kissed peach right here. And we're going to get a little bit of this tanned flesh. And that sun-kissed peach just leaked all over me somehow. No problem. And we're going to get some of this ugly white, this skeleton bone. What we're going to do is with that smaller brush, we are going to make a flesh repair color for the high parts of this gentleman. So this is our flesh repair color, and what we're doing is we're just barely dragging this along in the places where we need to smooth out the skin, where we lost too much. With how dark it is. And make sure you catch those little feet, but not too much. Some decent salvation on those legs. And that color is pretty light. We're going to grab that whitish color again, that bone, skeleton bone. Okay. We're going to wipe most of that off, and we're just going to hit real light in a couple of the spots, and especially on the hands, and then just grab his chin and nose. Come across his back here, real light on his shoulders, just like that. Now, what I would recommend is you just kind of get in and touch where you need to recover any flesh that's lost. And that is the only real work you do. And then, this is me. I'm going to get the rest of this skeleton bone, and I'm going to leave this flesh tone in here. I'm going to dry brush it till there's almost nothing in the brush. I'm going to come back and hit some detail on some of this leather and fabric. Okay. And then I'm going to do a little bit on the hood, just around the head, and lighten it up. Kind of bring the fact that those are different colors back together. Okay. I'm going to hit the top of that tree, back of that branch, and this wholesome. Rub the ends of those logs lightly. And then I'm going to start with the rocks, the rock portions. I'm going to start tying stuff in. Get some good variation in there. Now let's do some pretty boy work on them. I'm going to grab a light color like that monster maybe, and this desert yellow. I'm going to tag team these two together. A little bit of that, a little bit of that. And I'm going to hit these little straps on the edge of his gauntlets. And I'm not spending the time to paint every smidge of them. I'm just implying that they're mostly that color. I'm implying that they're made out of a different material. But I am not expending large amounts of time or effort to lock that in. And then some of these little stitches. And I'm not even hitting them all. I'm just implying that they're a different material. And you invest as much effort into this step as you want. But I know that from across the table, it's going to look okay. Same thing, some of those little leather straps or stitches there. Just implying that there's different materials going on here. I'm going to do the same thing on his clothes. Missing a lot of them, and that's okay. Like I said, we're just implying. A lot of miniature painting is going to be kind of this implying. And then I'm going to come back with that same color. I'm going to do his toenails lightly. And his fingernails. I'm going to get that yellow, a little bit of my water. And these ropes that I didn't come back and hit with the speed paints. Just going to drag that in there and let that go. That's going to be that. I'm going to do that same thing. I'm going to get my yellow and brown and a little bit of water. And I'm going to go into some of these darker spots when there's not a lot of variation. I'm just going to touch some of the higher spots and let that dry. It's very watered down. Okay. I'm pretty happy at that point. Alright, I'd like to get a dry brush of some sort on the logs. So what I'm doing there is I'm getting this melted chocolate, which is a color I use a lot on bases and stuff. And since I'm getting ready to do the base too, I'm going to go ahead and just knock this out now as well. So I'm using a shit brush that I like to dry brush small things with. If you have one, great. If not, sacrifice one. Come back. Drag it across the logs in some way. If you get it on the ropes, that's okay. I'm sorry, I was off camera, just zoned out doing that. But you can see what I was doing. Just lightening this stuff up a little bit with a little bit of a dry brush. And then I'm going to start painting the base that color. And I'm going to get a bigger brush for that. And this isn't actually the color I wanted to paint the base with, so I'm going to stop, put that away. This was going to be my variation color for the base. I'm doing burnt umber. And then I'm going to hit the rocks with the pavement that we used earlier on some of his stone skin. Now this dude's starting to look okay. Big model with a lot of detail. And that's okay though. It's alright, we gotta learn. We gotta learn how to paint different shit, right? I don't do a lot of big models like this, so for me this was like daunting, dude. But I wanted to paint it. I painted one before and I just did it really fast with some dry brushes and a wash. And it just wasn't what it could have been. I feel like we got a lot more variation and excitement on this dude. I think he's going to look alright. But I always say it, perfection is not a prerequisite of a decent craft or even a good craft. Sometimes things we hate about something while we're working on it turn out to be some of the sickest features in the end. And maybe this paint job looks a little quick and lazy, but I am kind of a lazy painter, and I say that all the time to people. Like, don't learn to paint for me. I want, the average miniature for me, I want it ready for the tabletop in a half an hour. I want it painted, and I want to be, I want to be clear coating it. For a regular mini, 35 minutes tops is like my goal when I come down to paint. Now, when I do our monthly box Dungeon Swag minis, depending on what they are, because they're really detailed, I do spend more time on them. But when I make minis and stuff, dude, 30 minutes is my paint job max, I'm telling you. I'm not about that life. I got other things I want to do besides prepping for D&D. I love D&D. I've been doing it my whole life. But I don't want to spend all my time prepping. painting miniatures, making terrain. This is stuff that's prepping, so I do it fast. Now this dude I did not do particularly fast because I was, one, a little intimidated by him. You can't blame me. He's pretty big. He's got a lot going on. So that's just pavement. Now I'm going to hit him with a +2 hot air gun of burning. And I think we're about ready to see what else needs done and then call it. Because we're at like almost probably an hour and a half of painting at this point. That's a lot. But this is a big model, I understand. All right, let's take a break from that for a minute. Let's get a mid-tone gray. For example, we could use that uniform gray we had earlier. That shouldn't be a problem. One more thing that we should probably do. Let's get a bright silver. This is called shining silver. Let's get a little glob of that. Let's, you know what I mean? Let's get that. And let's wipe a lot of that off. Let's catch at least a line of the highest parts of the metal to represent wear and tear. And that makes a pretty big difference, doesn't it? Alright, he has no eyes. Dare I use my brand new brush? I do not know what brush size this is. I got this for my birthday. It is a Wargamer Insane Detail brush. And I have not used it. Let's try it. So I got some mummy robes as my off-white. I don't think I'm going to do his pupils because he's wearing that hood and you can't really tell. And then I'm just going to do this. All right. Put that away. Not disappointed with that new brush, though I need to practice with it some, because I felt a little shaky and unconfident because I've not used it and I'm weird about brushes. So we have some moisture down here still. We need to get some, oh shit, I dropped my brush. No, come back here, friend. Just put that away before I drop it all over the place. So we need to lighten up. I got some here, okay. Let's get that and that. There we go. Then we'll come back and do that. I forgot all about that damn thing. Alright. That jug's a pretty easy fix. For the top part, we're just going to use the same color we used for the logs, right? And then for that part, what we're going to do is we're going to get some of this pink and this white and gray here. Just like that. And get that brown, it'll darken that up a little bit. Okay. Something like that. Hit it with the +2 hot air gun and burn it. We're going to get that same brush. And if you have any of that white left over from way back at the beginning when we lightened up the model with white paint, we're just going to get a little bit of that. And you just do a couple strokes around here. And that's going to be our jug. Okay. Alright, sweet. We have a couple problems. We need some flock. Clear glue. Pretty sure we're at like an hour and 45 minutes of painting. Guess it doesn't really matter. I didn't really have anything planned today outside of like the big adventure I went on earlier. So let's get some glue down in cracks and on spots of the base that need more interest and aren't beautiful, or places that we just think are a little dull, or we did a shoddy paint job. This is a long one, If you stuck it out with me this long, thank you so much. I know there is so much to watch on YouTube that is not me. And I am often shocked that people watch me at all because I'm not fancy. I'm just like a dude in my basement. And I see these YouTube channels that are like high production. They spend hours and hours editing their videos beautifully. And I've talked about some of these channels because, I watch them. Since I had this YouTube channel, I started watching YouTube to see what's going on and kind of get an idea of what's expected. Obviously, I don't meet the standard of what's expected, but I try. Pardon me. All right, so we got Homeboy here. He's got some flock on his base. It's green, it's bright, it's beautiful. And I have this like tree that I ripped off a piece of what do you call that stuff? Terrain. And I thought, I'm not sure how good it would look, but I thought if we put that on there, like in here maybe, I don't know where, maybe on the front here, on this. Yeah, let's try it right there. Let's see if I can get that to stay there. A little bit of super glue. Alright, let's turn this camera so we can see him better. Alright, that's the Dungeon Swag Giant I did. Again, we could have put a lot more work into it. We could have spent 10 hours painting this guy. But this is about an hour and 45 minutes. I'm going to clear coat him and take him upstairs, and we'll check him out on the table. I want to hold him up one more time next to the other mini. Look at that. Seems like he's too big. That's what I want. So thanks for watching. I really do appreciate it. It's a big deal. Like, subscribe, share. Okay, I brain farted. Like, subscribe, share, comment. Hit the notification bell icon. Go to the website. Links in the description. Maybe buy some minis. We have some discount codes. One for a free mini at no expense to you, sent to your door. We don't even need your credit card information for that. It's a gift from us to you to try our products out. The other is a discount code to get 25% off of your first month of our subscription service, which is pretty sick. You get 6, 7, or 8 minis in the mail, depending on their weight, is how it's determined. And it's going to be a unit of bugbears or orcs or goblins. This month it was heroes, or last month it was heroes. The August box, well, it's a secret still, but the August box is released now. And our September box is about to be released. The August box was heroes, sorry. The September box is about to be released. It's secret till after it's out, obviously. And then October's coming, so you can take a wild stab at what's going to be in that box. Hey, I'd love to see you guys join our Discord and hang out, do some RPGing, do some video gaming, do some painting and crafting, and I'll see you guys next time. The next entry after Giants. I think we're back to making stuff out of garbage again. Is the Gibbering Mouther. Oh, God. All right. See you next time, Gibbering Mouther. Thanks for watching.